All right. Hag Shamak, we are in day 2 after Feast of Trumpets, here with brother Isaac Yitzhak, Meshariel, red and blue.
Yes.
We're going to be reading through Psalms 118, and just wanted to capture our conversation and share, and just as a celebration of our brotherhood and our Father's Word. So we're going to get into it. We just noticed immediately, we just kind of noticed a pattern that each of these sections were dedicated to the 22 characters, that there's 8 verses in each section, which I don't think either one of us had noticed before.
So you want me
Which version are you reading from, by the way?
New King James version.
New King James? Okay, I'm reading from, I think, New American Standard Version, so it might sound a little, just in case people are wondering what we're reading from.
So,
all right, you want to lead us off, brother, with Elaf?
Blessed are the undefiled in the way who walk in the law of Yah. Blessed are those who keep his testimonies, who seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. You have commanded us to keep your precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. And I would not be ashamed when I look into all your commandments. I'll praise you with uprightness of heart when I learn your righteous judgments. I'll keep your statutes. Oh, do not forsake me utterly.
Hallelujah. Beef. How can a young man keep his way pure? By keeping it according to thy word. With all my heart I have sought thee. Do not let me wander from thy commandments. Thy word I have treasured in my heart, that I may not sin against thee. Blessed art you, O Yahuwah. Teach me thy statutes. With my lips I have told of all the ordinance of thy mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies, as much as in all riches. I will meditate on thy precepts and regard thy ways. I shall delight in thy statutes. I shall not forget thy word.
Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word. Open my eyes, that I may see wondrous things from your law. Torah, I am a stranger in the earth. Do not hide your commandments from me. My soul breaks with longing for your judgments at all times. You rebuke the proud, the cursed, who stray from your commandments. Remove from me your reproach and contempt, for I have kept your testimonies. Princes also sit and speak against me, but your servant meditates on your statutes. Your testimonies also are my delight and my counselors.
Hallelujah. Daleth. My soul cleaves to the dust. Revive me according to thy word. I have told of my ways, and thou hast answered me. Teach me thy statutes. Make me understand the way of thy precepts. So I will meditate on thy words, on thy wonders. My soul weeps because of grief. Strengthen me according to thy word. Remove faults away from me. Remove the faults away from me, and graciously grant me thy law. I have chosen the faithful way. I have placed thine ordinances before me. I cleave to thy testimonies. O Yahuwah, do not put me to shame. I shall run the way of thy commandments, for thou wilt enlarge my heart.
Teach me, O Yahuwah, the way of your statutes, and I shall keep it to the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep your Torah. Indeed, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me walk in the path of your commandments, for I delight in it. Incline my heart to your testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away my eyes from looking at worthless things, and revive me in your way. Establish your word to your servant, who is devoted to fearing you. Turn away my reproach, which I dread, for your judgments are good. Behold, I long for your precepts. Revive me in your righteousness.
Woe. May thy loving kindness also come to me, O Yahuwah, thy salvation according to thy word. so that I shall have an answer for him who reproaches me. For I trust in thy word, and do not take the word of truth utterly out of my mouth. For I wait for thine ordinances, so I will keep thy law continually, forever and ever. Hallelujah. And I will walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts. I will also speak of thy testimonies before kings, and shall not be ashamed. And I shall delight in thy commandments, which I love. And I shall lift up my hands to thy commandments, which I love, and I will meditate on thy statutes.
Hallelujah. Remember the word to your servant, upon which you have caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for your word has given me life. The proud have me in great derision. Yea, I do not turn aside from your Torah. I remembered your judgments, O Yahuwah, and have comforted myself. Indignation has taken hold of me because of the wicked who forsake your Torah. Your statutes have been my songs in the house of my pilgrimage. I remember your name in the night, O Yahuwah, and keep your Torah. This has become mine because I kept your precepts.
Hey, Yahuwah is my portion. I have promised to keep thy words. I entreated thy favor with all my heart. Be gracious to me according to thy word. I considered my ways and turned my feet to thy testimonies. I hastened and did not delay to keep thy commandments. The cords of the wicked have encircled me, but I have not forgotten thy law. At midnight I shall rise to give thanks to thee because of thy righteous ordinances. I am a companion of all those who fear or revere thee, and those who keep thy precepts. The earth is full of thy loving kindness, O Yahuwah. Teach me thy statutes.
All right, you have dealt well with your servant, O Yahuwah, according to your word. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I believe your commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I keep your word. You are good and do good. Teach me your statutes. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will keep your precepts with my whole heart. Their heart is as fat as grease, but I delight in your law. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I may learn your statutes. The law of your mouth is better to me than thousands of coins of gold and silver.
Yud. The hands have made me and fashioned me. Give me understanding that I may learn thy commandments. May those who fear thee see me and be glad, because I wait for thy word. I know, O Yahuwah, that thy judgments are righteous, and in thy faithfulness thou hast afflicted me. Oh, may thy loving kindness comfort me, according to thy word to thy servant. May thy compassion come to me, that I may live, for thy law is my delight. May the arrogant be ashamed, for they subvert me with a lie. I shall meditate on thy precepts. May those who fear thee turn to me, even those who know thy testimonies. May my heart be blameless in thy statutes, that I may not be ashamed.
My soul faints for your salvation, but I hope in your word. My eyes fail from searching your word, saying, when will you comfort me? For I have become like a wineskin in smoke, yet I do not forget your statutes. How many are the days of your servant? When will you execute judgment on those who persecute me? The proud have dug pits for me, which is not according to your law. All your commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongfully. Help me. They almost made an end of me on earth, but I did not forsake your precepts.
Lamad, forever.
Hold on.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Revive me according to your loving kindness, so that I may keep the testimony of your mouth.
Sorry about that. Lamad, forever, O Yahuwah, thy word is settled in heaven. Thy faithfulness continues throughout all generations. Thou didst establish the earth, and it stands. They stand this day according to thine ordinances, for all things are thy servant. If thy law had not been my delight, then I would have perished in my affliction. I will never forget thy precepts, for by them thou hast revived me. I am yours, save me, for I have sought thy precepts. The wicked wait for me to destroy me. I shall diligently consider thy testimonies. I have seen a limit to all perfection. Thy commandment is exceedingly broad. Great, maybe, is the right word there.
I don't know.
Exceedingly great.
Yeah. Oh, how I love your law. It is my meditation all the day. You, through your commandments, make me wiser than my enemies, for they are ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the ancients, because I keep your precepts. I have restrained my feet from every evil way, that I may keep your word. I have not departed from your judgments, for you yourself have taught me. How sweet are your words to my taste, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Through your precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way.
Noon, thy word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. I have sworn and will confirm it, that I will keep thy righteous ordinances. I am exceedingly afflicted. Revive me, O Yahuwah, according to thy word. O accept the freewill offerings of my mouth, O Yahuwah, and teach me thy ordinances. My life is continually in my hand, yet I do not forget thy law. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I have not gone astray from thy precepts. I have inherited thy testimonies forever, and they are a joy. They are the joy of my heart. I have inclined my heart to perform thy statutes forever, to the end.
I hate the double-minded, but I love your law. You are my hiding place and my shield. I hope in your word. Depart from me, you evildoers, for I will keep the commandments of my Elohim, my God. Uphold my according to your word, that I may live, and do not let me be ashamed of my hope. Hold me up, and I shall be safe, and I shall observe your statutes continually. You reject all those who stray from your statutes, for their deceit is falsehood. You put away all the wicked of the earth like dross. Therefore I love your testimonies. My flesh trembles for fear of you, and I am afraid of your judgments.
I have done justice and righteousness. I have done justice and righteousness. Do not leave me to my oppressors. Be surety for thy servant for good, and do not let the arrogant oppress me. My eyes fail for thy salvation and for thy righteous word. Deal with thy servant according to thy loving kindness, and teach me thy statutes. I am thy servant. Give me understanding that I may know thy testimonies. It is time for Yahuwah to act, for they have broken thy law. Therefore I love thy commandments above gold, yes, above fine gold. Therefore I esteem right all thy precepts concerning everything. I hate every false way.
Your testimonies are wonderful, therefore my soul keeps them. The entrance of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. I opened my mouth and I panted, for I longed for your commandments. Look upon me and be merciful to me, as your customs is toward those who love your name. Direct my steps by your word, and let no iniquity have dominion over me. Redeem me from the oppression of man, that I may keep your precepts. Make your face shine upon your servant, and teach me your statutes. Rivers of water run down from my eyes, because men do not keep your law.
Sadi, righteous art you, O Yahuwah, and upright are thy judgments. Thou hast commanded thy testimonies in righteousness and exceeding faithfulness. My zeal has consumed me, because my adversaries have forgotten thy words. Thy word is very pure, and the word is very pure. Therefore thy servant loves it. I am small and despised. I do not forget thy precepts. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is truth. Trouble and anguish have come over me, yet thy commandments are my delight. Thy testimonies are righteous forever. Give me understanding that I may live.
I cry out with my whole heart. Hear me, O Yahuwah. I will keep your statutes. I cry out to you. Save me, and I will keep your testimonies. I rise before the dawning of the morning and cry for help. I hope in your word. My eyes are awake through the night watches, that I may meditate on your word. Hear my voice according to your loving kindness, O Yahuwah. Revive me according to your justice. They draw near who follow after wickedness. They are far from your law. You are near, O Yahuwah, and all your commandments are truth concerning your testimonies. I have known of old that you have found them forever.
Resh. Look upon my affliction and rescue me, for I do not forget thy law. Plead my case and redeem me. Revive me according to thy word. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they do not seek thy statutes. Great are thy mercies, O Yahuwah. Revive me according to thy ordinances. Many are my persecutors and my adversaries, yet I do not turn aside from thy statutes. I behold the treacherous and loathe them, because they do not keep thy word. Consider how I love thy precepts. Revive me, O Yahuwah, according to thy loving kindness. The sum of thy word is truth, and every one of thy righteous ordinances is everlasting.
Princes persecute me without a cause, but my heart stands in awe of your word. I rejoice at your word as one who finds great treasure. I hate and abhor lying, but I love your law. 7 times a day I praise you because of your righteous judgments. Great peace have those who love your law, and nothing causes them to stumble. Yahuwah, I hope for your salvation, and I do your commandments. My soul keeps your testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. I keep your precepts and your testimonies, for all my ways are before you.
So, let my cry come before you, O Yahuwah. Give me understanding according to thy word. Let my supplication come before thee. Deliver me according to thy word. Let my lips utter praise, for thou dost teach me thy statutes. Let my tongue sing of thy word, and for all thy commandments are righteousness. Let thy hand be ready to help me, for I have chosen thy precepts. I long for your salvation, O Yahuwah. Your law is my delight. Let my soul live, that it may praise thee, and let thine ordinances help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek thy servant, for I do not forget thy commandments. I want to say one thing. We prayed before we started to read this, that he would feed us, and we decided to record afterwards, but I felt like that was something important to say, that we started this in prayer, and I just feel that we're both just like, this just resonates so deeply to each one of us.
Yeah.
Like, I can feel him responding to it, and I just feel like almost like giddy, like it's just like, wow, this is just so, everything that's here is like my life. Everything that's here is just like what I feel like as two brothers that we've recently connected, and just what you've gone through is so parallel to what I've gone through, and I feel and see you respond to these words in your spirit. Like, I could see you light up, I feel lit up, and it's just amazing. And so I want to give him praise and glory, and
HalaluYaH.
I think it was just important to note that how we approach him is important, and that we ask. He says, knock and it will be open, ask and you shall receive, and we asked him to feed us today, and I feel I don't feel it. He's feeding us, and it's like so good.
Yeah.
It's like
HalaluYaH.
gourmet. It's like gourmet. It's like a gourmet, buffet feast. It's just like you can't. And there's just so much here.
Yeah.
So much here. My dad had a note that I wanted to call out on, and nothing can cause them to stumble. And he has a note on Proverbs 4:2. I was just curious what that might look like, because I don't remember that verse off the top of my head, but Proverbs 4:2 says 4:12. Sorry.
Oh, 4:12.
Says, when you walk, your steps will not be impeded, and if you run, you will not stumble. And yet, what do we hear? And I think this is not something that like, I've been in synagogues and I've never heard rabbis say, you're sinners and we're always going to be a sinner, but in church we've heard, that every heart is deceitful and wicked above all else. But when you actually look at what it says there, he's talking about the evil. He's not talking, because clearly there are the righteous. I mean, Abraham was called righteous, Job righteous, even David, Noah, all these men were called tamim. We talked about that word tamim, which is complete, whole, perfect. And it's literally 490 in the Gematria, which is 70 times 7, which is what Messiah said, you gotta forgive 70 times 7. Right. And that's just like such a perfect picture of the grace and mercy that is his completeness, right?
Right. Yeah.
And what was his ultimate example? We were talking earlier about how when Messiah literally was so afflicted that he literally said, forgive them, that they don't know what they do. And that is just like such an incredible, profound testimony of grace and mercy. And I see it there. I see it in his feeding the hungry and healing the sick. And I also see it incredibly profound, the fact that he lowered himself when he washed his own talmidim, his own disciples' feet, and especially the one that he knew was betraying him and was stealing out of their money purse and didn't want to use extravagant oil on his head. And he literally lowered himself and he washed the feet of, we call him Judas, but Yehuda, who betrayed him. I mean, that's just, when I have that in my mind and in my heart, it's like, how then can I depart from that example and not show that kind of grace to my enemy? That's just, anyway, there's so much here, here. What was there anything that like really popped out to you that really like spoke to you or felt like you wanted to just say hallelujah?
Well, there's
all of it.
Yeah, I mean, it just like comes in like a formation of just like builds you up kind of, and then just, I don't know, hallelujah.
You know what's crazy is like, I'm sitting here reading this and I'm like, I need to memorize this. I need to read this like every day, like just Psalms. Just Psalms 119, 176 verses. Yeah. It's like, this is so powerful, such a powerful reminder, and yet like I know that, but then when I read it, it's almost becoming brand new again,
right?
Because you're just like you feel a sense of reviving in your spirit.
Yeah. Well, I was on the Zoom call, and they're like, at the beginning, they're like, read your favorite verse or whatever. And the guy just mentioned he wanted to read 119. I was like, but he didn't end up reading it. So I went back. I was like, oh, maybe I'll start reading it. I was in depth with it, and like going through the Hebrew words, I was like, wow, this is amazing. But now, like even just reading it, how we did, just word for word, it's like, it's amazing.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what it all stands out to me, but it just seems to me like there's this repeating kind of pattern of acknowledging the goodness of his instruction, the goodness of his judgment, the goodness of his word, of his all of this goodness that a father represents in terms of structure and order, and yet the stubborn, stiff-necked child rebels from that. And he says, he tells us to circumcise our heart and to not have a stiff, to repent of our stiff-neckedness or stubbornness.
Right.
I mean, he even says that the children, that says Israel has like a neck of iron. That's how stubborn we are. Yeah. And when you see the attitudes like today across the board, I think within both the left Christianity and the right Judaism, you see this incredible, profound, like hard, stiff neck that I'm right, we're right, we got the truth and you don't, and yet it says don't go to the left, don't go to the right.
Right.
They both have departed, and
Right.
neither one are really straight. And we talked earlier about Davarim or Deuteronomy 4:2, you shall not add to or take away from the word that I've given to you. And yet, I was telling him, I was literally at a Torah study, at a Chabad, and the teacher, the rabbi, said, just literally after reading that, we can't take away, but we can add. It's like, you just read, do not add or take away, and you're saying you can add. It's like, and so I see Christianity, I think we agree on this, right? That
Yeah.
Christianity has removed something that's
Crucial.
really like the heart of it, which
Yeah.
is the law, which is completely given to us in love, from a loving Father,
Right.
to give us healthy boundaries and instruction, and they completely remove that. And then our brother Yehuda has gone and completely just added all
Right.
this
Put,
stuff.
like these chains on us to try and keep us like,
They just added
burdensome. Yeah.
it becomes so cumbersome as a man. You got to go to this minion, you got to do that, you got to do this. That is not part of his instructions for us. You won't find that in this. Just like we were talking today, because it's the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Teruah, and we were talking about how it's commonly called Rosh Hashanah, which is completely man-made. It's not biblical at all, and it's actually not the truth. It's like the first day of the 7th month. It's not the new year at all. And yet people are going around saying Hag Sameach, Happy New Year, or Rosh Hashanah, and it's not what it is.
Right.
It's crazy. And so I think for me, I feel like emboldened and enlivened with just this love for a father's instruction, and recognizing how good it is, how much we need it, that we're like desperately like seeking it, hold on to it, and that he as our mighty one literally says that he loves those that are seeking his righteousness, which is what you were really talking about, that this is a path.
Yeah.
It's not a destination.
Right.
It's a path that we continually are walking in.
Yeah.
And that is the destination, is the path. And once you're on it, we're continually being refined.
A journey
we're continually
that's continually
learning.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Right.
I mean, the richness of things that we just sit here, we were just talking and conversing this morning a little bit, and just things that that we've noticed or just talked about. I think there were a couple things that just jumped out, that even in the conversation, like we were talking about Yusuf, and how I was just thinking, Yaakov must have been, they literally sent his granddaughter to break the news to him that Yusuf was alive, because they weren't sure how he was going to handle that. And she sang it to him. That's how concerned they were that he was going to respond to this news, after just the incredible amount of grief that he spent, how much of his life, and I don't even know how many years it was, thinking that literally his firstborn of his true love, Rachel, was dead, murdered, torn apart by a wild animal, an awful death that would have looked like a bad omen. And then the fact that, why didn't, once he got through the being amazed that Yusuf was alive, it's like, I would naturally think that he would have started to ask some questions, like, wait a minute, how is it that you were like number 2 in all of Nazyr or Egypt, and you never sent somebody to tell me that you were alive? And that's just like an amazing, I don't know, like that's a really bizarre, like, why didn't Yusuf, when he got established, send for his father?
It's a mystery.
To me, it's kind of mind-blowing.
Right.
Unless he just had a knowing that it wasn't Yah's will or timing, that there was something. It's just incredible, because there must have been some kind of a knowing. How else would he not have reached out to his family?
Yeah.
it's pretty baffling to me,
Yeah.
honestly. And honestly, I've never even thought about that until today we were talking, which is another thing that we both kind of recognize is really cool, is that when we come together, that I think that that's like a blessing to our Father that we're coming together, and so I feel like he blesses us with these like epiphanies, of like these aha moments,
Right. Yeah.
And we were also we mentioned like the colors red and blue, and we didn't plan this, but brothers sitting here wearing blue, which to me represents the southern kingdom of Yehuda, which was effectively Yehuda and Benjamin too, and then the northern kingdom was Ephraim, which was Yusuf, which was 10, and this pattern of 10 and 2, how it's 10 men for a minion. Abraham was told that if there were 10 righteous, that in Sodom and Amorah, that the 5 cities would be spared. We see that there were 10 brothers that betrayed Joseph. There were 10 chiefs or princes that went into the land that didn't believe that they could conquer, and that there were only 2 brothers out of the 12 that hadn't betrayed each other, and this relationship of the 2 and the 10. And that's just like a very incredible pattern to be aware of as we're looking at, the Torah, and we're looking at the history, and this idea that red and blue must come together, and when they do, it becomes purple, and that this concept of Ephraim and Yehuda, those 2 sticks becoming bound together as one stick, as the Hazakel. Ezekiel was instructed to take these 2 sticks and to engrave them together and to bind them together as one, and that this is really like the right and the left path coming back together to be straight, and that means that Yehuda gets Messiah and Ephraim gets the law,
Right.
and then they can be one again.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
where the divinity, that's where that purple, that picture of royalty happens.
Right.
Pretty wild.
It is.
I think physically we probably even look like the northern and southern kingdoms. I think that the southern kingdom was probably darker skinned. I think the northern kingdom was lighter skinned. I know people have. I don't care. I don't care, but I just think I'm just talking about this situation,
Right, yeah.
because you had different mothers. You had Leah and you had Rachel, but then you also had the handmaidens. We don't know what they looked like. If they were handmaidens and they were servants, they probably weren't from the same people, because you usually didn't have servants that were of your own people. I think, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's but here we were talking about the bones, that our bones are all the same color, our blood's all the same color, and it's not the skin, it's what is the foundation of what we are. That's our bones, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was awesome. I mean, I just feel joy.
Yeah.
Joy.
No, I definitely felt like this, like,
I almost feel like a celebration reading
Yeah,
it together,
yeah.
especially reading it together.
yeah, taking each the verses, reading off the separate sections of it.
I mean, I think we could literally break this down into the 22 sections and like make 22 videos, a whole series, just looking at each one of these
Going
sections.
in depth on each
Yeah,
section.
I mean, well, if you just focused on just like, any particular one, there's just so much depth in these 8 verses in each section.
Yeah.
You have so many answers to issues that still are, what's the word, theological debates and things about, Christian doctrine or Judaic doctrine or whatever it is. But here you have so many things that are cleared out. How blessed are those who are what? Thamim, blameless, perfect, complete. And yet we're taught in Christianity that, that everybody is a sinner. And yes, we were in a state of sin. But then when we get restored, the whole concept of restoration is that you're bought out of debt, you're redeemed, you're restored into the fullness of who you are. And then once you receive that restoration, you walk in it. You don't go back to being a slave. And It doesn't mean that we don't err, but that's the thing. Even within the law, if we err, there's a prescription
right
of how to deal with it.
Right.
So just because you say, "Oh, you can't keep the law," no, you might break the law, but within the law there is a remedy for that.
Yeah.
So it's
there's a way to get back on the straight path.
Yeah. I mean, just like if you become unclean ritualistically, okay, so you go do a mikveh, you go do a submersion, and then at sundown you're ritualistically clean again.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. It's not like you're condemned because you were unclean. And by the way, you can't lay with your woman without becoming effectively ritualistically unclean. And obviously laying with your woman is something that it's literally, we're told to be one, we're told to go forth and be fruitful. So it's not it's interesting because ritualistically it's looked at unclean, but I wonder if that also goes back to the fall. That there was some uncleanness brought into that act through the fall. Right? And the picture of the woman and her cycle of that death in her womb, if that egg is not fertilized, that egg doesn't stay, right? It dies. And so literally the womb sheds something unnatural to it, which is death, when the womb is designed to bring forth a life. And that's like this, and that's one of the reasons why it's an abomination for a man to have intercourse with his woman when she's bleeding, because he's literally mixing the seed of life with death. Just like if you were to put it in the wrong place, that's garbage out, not life in.
Yeah.
So like these things that he's given, that he literally calls not just the transgression, but he calls some things abomination. And it's a picture for us, just like the misconception about you shouldn't have meat and milk. It's crazy that the rabbis have come up with this, because literally when the three messengers come to Abraham, he goes and he slaughters the fatted calf and he feeds them meat and milk.
Yeah.
It's not what it is telling us is don't mix the milk with the mother with the meat of the child, because why? The milk of the mother is designed to do what? Sustain life.
Right.
So if you're going to take milk and then cut up this
dead body,
make it meat, take the life out of it, and then mix that with milk effectively for flavor, for pleasure, he's saying don't do that. You don't mix those things. He's showing us some things aren't meant to mix, just like the seed of life doesn't mix with death, or it doesn't mix with waste. And these are just pictures for us to understand as little children how to operate in this realm in a way that's clean and brings forth life and not death.
Right.
And yet I had a woman that literally, we were being intimate and she got her flow like right then. And it was like a completely foreign experience to me. All of a sudden I'm feeling like this cold, wet, I don't know what's going on. And then I see all this blood and it's like, I'm like immediately like, whoa, something's wrong. And she was just in the moment, like, and the woman is more sexually heightened during that time because of the blood flow. They actually get like hornier during their flow. And she got mad at me because I was like, whoa, and I stopped. And she was like mad at me. And it was like, that showed me something there. Like my experience wasn't important to her. She was caught up in her own experience. Because as a dude, to be there and have all of a sudden this blood that's feeling, and then all of a sudden, initially it's warm and then it gets cold and it gets sticky and it feels weird and you're like, plus you don't want blood over. It's like not, it was like, I never, it's just, I don't know if that's a weird thing to dive into, but I think it's a real thing in life that, it's a picture of some things are not supposed to mix.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's, a lot of it is about, pictures that we can understand and not, these
something
abstract.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be able to understand by things that we see physically.
So if you don't get that what he's talking about isn't just a cow and meat, right? But it's literally this relationship between a mother and a child and life and death. If you're not getting that, then it's like you're getting the word, but you're not getting the meaning of the word, or you're not getting the spirit or the essence of the word. And so literally what you're getting is death, because you're not getting the message. And if you don't get the message, how can you live the message? You have to recognize the message, knowledge of it, right? You have to receive it and understand it. And then once you do those two things, you have wisdom, and then you apply the wisdom to your life towards living righteously. But if you don't have the knowledge, he says, my children die for lack of knowledge. You can't have understanding without the knowledge.
Right.
And if you're just looking to somebody as a teacher who doesn't have the correct wisdom about something, but they have knowledge without the understanding, it's not going to lead you to life. And that's exactly what the state of what we see both in the church and the synagogues. That's what you see today. That's what we're seeing in Gaza. That's what we're seeing in America, in our, in our streets, in our homes, in our churches, in our school systems. We're seeing division. We're seeing, the curses of death.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Good way of looking at it.
She likes to sleep in the sunshine. You guys can't see, but the little mama's over here curling up in the chair to keep warm. She likes to lay in the sunshine, but we're not getting a lot of it today. So give her a little blanket. I mean, this is powerful, man.
Yeah.
It's powerful just having two brothers together and being in the Word. And he's, we're told that when two or more come together, that he's with us in spirit. And the house that binds the Father and the Son together is the house that's established on the four pillars. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in the Psalms it says that the four pillars of creation are love, truth, justice, and righteousness. And so that is the house that the Father and the Son share to be one. And when they do, that's literally the definition of a rock in Hebrew. So when Messiah says a man must build his house upon the rock, a wise man builds his house upon the rock, where a foolish man builds his house upon the sand. What he's literally saying is a wise man is established upon a stone that is a father and a son, which is ultimately a picture of Messiah, right? Because he's the cornerstone, and then we are literally supposed to be conformed to his image to become the stones that are laid aside next to him to become this foundation of this holy temple. But literally that cornerstone sets the level, the direction, the orientation of the whole building. That right. One stone dictates everything else, all the alignment, right? That word alignment. Look, man, look at that. That's right. It's such a beautiful picture. And can I share with you how he revealed that to me? What the meaning of a stone in Hebrew?
Remind me. I think
I may have, but also for the sake of the video.
For the video, yeah.
So this was a beautiful, incredible story, and I like to share it because it's so profound to me about how the Ruach Kadosh, the Holy Spirit, can and will work. And so one day, I'm estranged from my son, which has been one of the hardest, my daughter as well, one of the hardest, most painful things in my life. And so I was in this 7-Eleven down at the corner of PCH and Topanga Boulevard in California, making a coffee, like 4:30 in the afternoon. And I hear this little Spanish kid coming in, Poppy, he's like excited. First of all, I could just tell he loved his dad from the way he spoke, right? And I hear the child, Poppy, coming, and he comes, and I hear him moving through the store, and I see these three men come around the corner with this little boy. And I'm kind of like, they're coming down the aisle, and I'm standing here, and I look, and I see, and I'm like, okay, three guys. And then I see this one guy's a little stockier. He's dressed a little bit more professional, has a hat. He looks a little bit more cleaned up, a little bit more groomed. I'm like, that's the boss, that's the dad. And I see these other two guys, and they're his workers, right? And so they come by me, and I literally say to them, it's a beautiful thing when a son loves his father. And boom, right when I said that, it was like, I got like, oh, you're not just talking about a little boy and his father, because you're saying one thing, but there's other meanings that are there too, right? And what I'm saying is when a son loves his father, meaning us as men love our father. And that, I believe, was like the state, they were in agreement. Okay, so we had this agreement. Boom, it's a beautiful thing when a son loves his father. So they walk around, they go to the register on the left, and I go to the register on the right. And there's this tall, handsome, dark-skinned guy, with dreads, and he's got this name tag on that I've never noticed before. I'm friendly with him, but I never noticed his name tag says Evan, E-V-A-N. And I'm like, you have a Hebrew name, I'm like, you know what your name means? And I'm like, I'm thinking like, and I knew that it meant a stone or a rock, but I asked him, I said, I look at the ancient Hebrew and I'm always interested in the root words, but I said, I'm thinking it's a 3-letter word. What's the root? And so when I asked myself that question, what's the root of a 3-letter word? I realized there's 2 words within the word. And I'm literally having this conversation and these guys are next to me still at the counter. And it was like, again, boom, woof. I'm like, what? I see it. I see that the first 2 letters are A-B or Aleph B, and then Beeth Nun. And I'm looking at these 2 and I see the 2 words, father, son, sharing a common house. And I was like, a father and I said, a rock in Hebrew is a father and a son sharing a common a house. And as I say that, this Mexican guy, Hispanic guy, points at me and says, that's my brother. To the clerk.
Wow.
He says, that's my brother. He says this. He says, we can put our hands on each other and heal each other. And I'm like, you're my brother? He goes, yeah. I said, give me a hug, man. He comes over, he gives me a hug. There was one other guy standing behind him who happens to be a homeless Jewish guy named Matthew. So it's Matthew, Hector, I remember his name, and then Junior was his son, and I can't remember his 2 co-workers' name, and then this clerk that was a female, and then the clerk that was the male. So I said, hey, I go, what's your name? He said, Junior. I go, you my brother too? He goes, yeah. I said, give me a hug. So his son gave me a hug. Now, this was an extremely busy 7-Eleven. And from the time that we stepped to that counter, that door didn't open one time. And usually it's people coming in and out. This is a busy intersection. There was a stillness in that place that to me is a reflection of how the Holy Spirit works. It was in the stillness that Eliyahu heard, or Elijah heard, that little voice of Yah. So that stillness was like, I was very aware that it almost felt like we were in like a different realm for a moment. Like it just was us. And I look at these other 2 guys that are with him. I'm like, are you my brother? And they both said yes. They gave me a hug. I said, Matthew, you my brother? He said, yeah. So literally, there were 5 of them, 4 of the guys plus Matthew, and then me, that's 6, and then 2, which is 8, which is interesting because we're reading patterns of 8. And then I looked at the clerks. I go, you guys want a hug too? And they said, yeah. So I walked around. And I gave them both a hug. As soon as I gave the last hug, that door opened and this Indian guy walks in, and he's kind of like, he could tell something was going on too. And it was like, he almost was like, is there a robbery going on here? Or like, what's going on? And I said, I'm like, yeah, something is going on here, very special. But I'm like, you just missed something really special, but it's all good. Like I was kind of trying to reassure him that it wasn't like a holdup or something that he was walking into. But it was like, where did that come from? In that moment that he revealed to me the depth of this 3-letter word, Evan or Avon or Evan, depending on how you pronounce it. And literally it was about a son and a father in that moment. I mean, it was about that little boy and his dad, but it was also about us as men and our dad. And yet, do you see like that connect? How do you manufacture something like that?
Yeah, it's perfect timing.
It's so perfect and so profound that even talking about it, it's just like, this isn't like, I'm not like acting for the camera. Like, it's just like, it was such an exciting thing to experience.
Yeah, I bet.
And it's just amazing, you know, like how that works. And anyway, I don't even now know. I got caught up in the story. I don't even know exactly what led me to share it at this point, which is, but I felt just such an incredible revelation in that moment of that spirit. And it was interesting because that night I ended up speaking to Hector on the phone with his wife. I think we talked for like an hour and a half.
Wow.
And we prayed together. And I really had hoped, you know, I thought that this was going to be like a new brother in my life or something, and you know, maybe we work together. But the way I see Father work in my life is a lot of these times I don't see him bringing these people into my life necessarily for me to have a relationship, which is what I've wanted and needed. But he is somehow, I believe, using me as a way to plant a seed, or to just encourage, or just to be there in a moment. Like there was a girl that was driving a Amazon delivery van that got, I don't know if I told you, but she came down the hill, and I heard a vehicle stop out here, and I kind of look out and I see this gray, you know, like Sprinter thing that they drive.
Right.
And there's a woman in the front, and I walk over, and when I get to her window, she rolls it down, and she's like in tears, you know, on the phone with her dispatcher, and she's like, I quit. And she was so frustrated because she drove all the way down this treacherous road, and she's thinking she's going to have to back all the way up. And I was able to go out there and be like, hey, it's not a big deal. I did this before for somebody else that drove their van down. If you want, I'll move over. I'll drive it down, turn it around for you, and drive up. And like literally, I just asked the guy's name, who was the dispatcher, and his name is Joshua.
Oh, wow.
So I said, Joshua, I said, that's Jesus' real name. I said, I'm a Jesus guy. I mean, I'm a Joshua guy. I'm a Yahushua guy.
Yeah.
But I said that in language that they would understand. And she was like, oh, I was just listening to my Jesus podcast this morning to like cheer myself up.
Wow.
And then I go, really? I said, well, and part of my question to her when she was upset was, how long have you been doing this job? She's like 6 months. And I was like, how old are you? She's like 24. I was like, that's how old my daughter is. And then it just happened to mention that we were estranged. Like, it's such a reality in my life. And she's like, oh, I don't have a dad. And I was like, well, you do right now. So we drove her up, and this guy is on the phone, dispatch Joshua and the three of us, and we're talking. And you know, she's obviously so thankful because she was so concerned about trying to get out of there. And then as a man, I felt such purpose to be able to be there for that young woman. I mean, this is right the same week that girl got stabbed in the neck on the train. So to see her as this small, vulnerable, kind of almost like mouse-like girl, so vulnerable, be hurt by a stranger, that for me as a man to be able to be there, to be a relief to this woman or this young girl, was such a blessing. It made me feel alive. Like that's our purpose as a man, right? To be able to be there. And then this experience with a third guy witnessing this. And then before I left, I said, you know, do you mind if I say a prayer with you? She said, yeah. I put my hand on her, prayed for her, exchanged numbers, told her, you know, hey, I'd like to love to keep in touch. And she has texted me. But it was just, I'm giving glory to the power of how profoundly he can work in and through us in circumstances that, you know, when she said that she doesn't have a father and I don't have a daughter, again, it's like, I need a daughter. I want to be, you know, a father figure. So when she doesn't necessarily like pursue a relationship with me, it can feel like rejection, but that's personalizing, you know. It's not about that. It's about being there in that moment to give her father's love and trust the rest to him. But just, it's so profound. I don't know if you have any experiences like that where you just know, I mean, anything that's really meaningful to you, that where you've really felt kind of that kind of like Holy Spirit intervention, just like the timing.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of like specific time, but like there's definitely been times in my life where it's like you meet some random person and you just have like this moment where it's like, wow, this was, you know, there's a purpose in this meeting.
Yeah. Like I guess what I'm trying to say is the times that we really feel and recognize the power of the presence.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I wasn't living my life right, I remember once getting a flat tire coming out of Philadelphia in the morning at like 4:30 in the morning on 76. And I'm out there and it's pitch dark. There's not even a street light, and I'm trying to change this tire.
Mm-hmm.
I hear footsteps coming down the highway. And this dude that he looked demonic.
Yeah.
He's like coming up and kind of hovering behind me, wanting to help me. At this point, I got the wheel off. I got the thing jacked up. I really don't need help, or I don't know. And I don't want some dude standing behind me I don't know as I put the tire on my old Land Cruiser. And somebody walked. It was weird, right? He walks down the highway a little bit further out of my sight, and all of a sudden this woman pulls up behind me in a car and just pulls up and puts her lights on me until I finish the job. And I go back and I'm like, you know, thank her. And she's like, she was just a nurse that just got off duty. Well, when I drove down the road, I didn't see this guy anywhere. And it wasn't that much longer. I thought for sure I was going to see him walking down. I literally wondered, was that like some kind of like evil that was actually there to do me harm? And there, you know, so there's been these like amazing times like that, at least in my life, that and I don't mean, you know, I don't you know, for me the you know, I don't mean to like contrast, like saying I have all these memories or something, and you know, that are specific or not, but it's just the fact that we've seen and felt those things in our life where we know his hand is involved, and we can just feel it, and it's like I fell off a 3-story building.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell off to the side, landed on grass. If I had fallen off to the front, I would have landed on concrete. Also, I fell on the back, so I technically fell 2 stories instead of 3.
Wow.
But I literally was able to get up and go back to work that day. If I had fallen to the front, I would have landed on concrete, probably died. They thought I was dead. The one guy that was there that saw me fall, and I was wearing my tzitzit, working, and this is a Jewish kid that saw me fall that isn't observant.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was watching me fall to my death. His legs I could see his legs trembling.
Wow.
I got back on the roof to work before he did. That's the power of our Creator.
Wow, that's amazing.
And the owner of the company, also non-observant Jewish guy, that literally told me when I went back in to get my last paycheck, because he wasn't going to have me work again after falling off the roof on the first day of the job. He said his liability insurance was too bad as it was. But he said to me that he had talked with his supervisor, and that they were just like, we had a guy break his back, fall off a 3-foot ladder.
Wow.
And you fell off 2 stories and got back to work. And they were like talking about it, the fact that I was wearing these tzitzit.
Yeah.
And like superstitious, like was like, wow, they were amazed.
Yeah.
So and in that day, I was getting paid $15 an hour cash for that job. It was like all the work I could find. Couldn't even get a job at Lowe's. On that day, on my way to work, I'm driving thinking, okay, I have a college degree. I've made really good money, and I'm going to work on cleaning leaves out of the gutters for $15 an hour. Like, what is happening here, Father? Like, am I like just completely like an underachiever, or like whatever this is? Like, I don't know, but I hope that, you know, that your hand, whatever it is, if this is what you want me to do, that I pray that there's a purpose behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And that purpose, I think, was to show his power to these men. And guess what? These men, they were all like dudes that just couldn't find work. Most of them were criminal or drug users. I was just in a completely different situation.
Yeah.
It was like after my divorce, and couldn't find work local. I wanted to stay, you know, local with my children, and I couldn't find anything in my field. And literally after going to Home Depot and not getting or Lowe's, not even being able to get hired at Lowe's, like I saw this job on Craigslist for $15 an hour. But I was literally like just questioning that on that very morning, and then to have this happen, it's just like he works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
But these guys were like hardened guys, and those all of a sudden you see this dude showing up wearing seat, Mr. Nice Guy or whatever, isn't on any hard drugs. Like you can tell a lot of times when people are living that life, because there's a hardness, like you can see.
Yeah.
The supervisor wasn't like that, but a lot of these other guys were, you could tell, like really hardened from their lifestyle. And so like, what an amazing experience. And then to not have another day of work after that,